tractor and truck pulling time in Georgetown, Ohio. Again, the ATPA Nationals are set to begin, and when it's all over, there will be only one winner in each class. Tonight, we will see the best of the 5,700-pound super stock tractors, the super modified two-wheel drives, the modified four-wheel drives, and the 7,700-pound super stock tractors. And the controversy climaxes over diesel and alcohol-burning tractors. Who will stay and who will fall? Sit back and enjoy the ride. Welcome to the American Tractor Pullers Association Truck and Tractor Pull. And this is the Jasper World Finals, coming to you from the 148th Brown County Fair at the Brown County Fairgrounds here in Georgetown, Ohio. Hello, everyone. I'm Claude Wood. Earlier in the season, we told you there was a controversy brewing between the alcohol-burning tractors and the diesel-pulling tractors. That controversy, believe it or not, is still festering. Also, tonight, we'll determine the points leader in a number of categories. With more on those situations, let's check in with our expert analyst, Tom McConnell.
That's right, Claude. The controversy between the diesel-powered superstock tractors and the alcohol-powered tractors is enormous. Here at the last event of the year in Georgetown, Ohio, the numbers are out. In the 5,700-pound superstock class, out of 30 events, 27 have been won by alcohol-powered superstock tractors. And rumors are abounding everywhere as to what the ATPA is going to do next season in regards to the alcohol situation. In fact, earlier today, we went out in the pits and talked to some of the competitors about what they thought the ATPA should do about the alcohol-diesel rivalry.
I feel the diesels need to step up and do their homework, build a cylinder head and the components to make it run instead of trying to use stock parts. And I feel they need to build a full race engine like the people in the alcohol tractors have done.
Let them guys catch up. We've worked on these tractors for the past 6 or 7 years. We finally got them to where they're running. They're putting out decent horsepower, and they're wanting to back us up to let it even it up and let them guys play catch up.
Oh, I think we ought to go back to OEM heads and either put 2-charger alcohol and 3-charger diesel, or just put them in a class by themselves.
I think the elimination of the rev limiter, which is a computer, and you take the computer away and let them go back to driving the tractor as the diesel people have to, you would notice a considerable difference.
To keep competition close, you're going to have to put some kind of a limit on any tractor that dominates. That's my feeling, no matter whether it's diesel or alcohol.
As you can see, almost every driver has a different opinion of the alcohol-diesel controversy. What's going to happen? Well, this is the last event of the year. Nothing's going to happen at this event. The best thing I can tell you is watch Speed Vision next year. You'll find out what happens on the alcohol-diesel controversy.
And, Tom, that will be exciting to see next year, but right now we have a lot of excitement here as points, leaders, and championships will be determined tonight. We begin now in the 5,700-pound super stock class, and up first will be Zach Monday.
Zach has driven more miles this year than anyone else on the ATPA Jasper circuit, all the way from McGaheysville, Virginia. He is pretty well locked into third place on Jasper points, making a good, strong run. But he's just not getting far enough down the track, and he's slowing down, runs out of oomph there, Claude.
Ran out of power indeed, 245 feet and 3 inches. And now that will bring up Larry Phillips in the Insanity tractor.
Larry had a third-place finish here last year in Georgetown, Ohio at the Jasper World Finals. Don't count him out tonight. The tractor seems to be going for Larry Phillips relatively straight. He's humming in there, a little right turn at the end. He'll set the distance to beat at 273.3.
That he will. The object, of course, is to go straight. The straighter you go, as you see on the Synergen Oil replay, the more distance you get out of it. But you're right, Tom. He veered left right there. Now, whoa, a right-hand turn.
Cost him a lot of footage by having to hit those brakes, and it slowed him down, and boom, that's where he lands.
That's where he lands indeed. A little bit of diesel fumes going into the night skies here, and a blue Ford by Tim Shipley.
This Ford used to be a pro stock tractor. He's added the turbochargers to it here over the years. Real strong running Ford. Look for him to participate a lot more on the Jasper Pulling Series next year. Makes a good run and going to be there at 259.2.
Very good run indeed. Pretty straight, pretty true, right down the track. I like this tractor, Tom. This is called the Running Bear.
Well, a lot of times when Jeff Hurt hooks to the sled, I take off running because I don't know where he's going to land. This guy is nuts. He only knows how to drive this tractor one way. Hammer down and drive it till it breaks or stops. And this time, it broke something. I think those were pistons coming out or pieces of the engine block, Claude.
Yeah, Tom, and those pieces coming out had a lot to do with the end of his run. As we go to the Synergen Oil replay, you can see immediately he is all over the track. This program brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the nation's leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions. And by Synergen Racing Oil, the world's fastest racing oil. And by Valco of Cincinnati, whose wide array of products are available at local truck stops. Stay with us. More in the 5,700-pound Super Stocks next. Welcome back to the Brown County Fairgrounds in Georgetown, Ohio. There's the man, Leroy Mason, getting ready to do business, Tom, in the Down and Dirty.
By virtue of hooking to the sled, you are looking at your 1998 Jasper Engines and Transmissions ATPA 5,700-pound Super Stock champion for the second year in a row. It's going to go to Leroy Mason, and he's going to do it again.
It is a full pull, Tom, and you notice there in that run, Leroy chose to use the right side of the track. Now, will that be the side to use tonight for the best traction? Let's go down and check in with Bill Stevens. He's with Leroy.
Leroy, it looked like you could have gone halfway to Toledo on that one.
Yeah, it hooked up pretty good down there. It hooked up a lot better than I thought it did right there on the line. Once she got the front end in there, I knew she was going the other end.
Alcohol comes through again for Leroy Mason.
Well, there you have it, Tom. Another vote for alcohol, so to speak. And as we said earlier in the program, that controversy will continue. But meanwhile, the business at hand will be Jim Humpelick on the Privateer.
Jim's originally from the state of Ohio. He's moved to Jackson, Tennessee. Just got the tractor back out, and whoa!
Can you believe this, Tom? How can his wheel fall off?
I guess I'm speechless at this point. I don't know what to say. Let's check it out again here with the Synergen Oil replay. He blows the turbocharger. When he blows the turbocharger, he blows the exhaust out, and he takes a look at the tire, and it's gone bye-bye.
I think there's one word for something like that. Yikes.
Yeah, it was. I haven't run it in 13 years, and I've been trying. It's the third time out, and I really don't know what all's gone bad in 13 years. Trying to get it running ready for next year to run the ATPA for Jasper Engines and everybody, and hopefully we'll get it lined out and get it straightened out before it all falls apart.
What did it feel like when that happened?
The exhaust pipe's the first thing I seen. I didn't notice that fell off till afterwards when I looked out.
That was exciting for all the wrong reasons.
And Tom, I have to admit, I have never seen a wheel fall completely off a tractor.
I've seen it happen a couple times, but this kind of had some finesse about it. It's kind of like it took its time crashing there. So,
and you know, he did have really a look of surprise on his face.
Yeah, to say the least.
Well, this will bring up Rick Ross in the Moonshiner. Rick is out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and a good start.
Remember last year, Rick Ross won the Summer Nationals over in Wabash, Indiana, his former home. He's moved to Michigan over the year, and he's got a good run going down here, Claude.
He does, Tom. He started out on the left part of the track, went to the center, and somehow worked his way to the right for 279 feet and 5 inches.
Talk about a metamorphosis. Just what this tractor is. It started out life as a Super Farm tractor. In fact, it won the Super Farm points title for the Bluegrass Pulling Association back in 1992. Now it's running 3 turbochargers, and he is making a lot of power out of this Alice Chalmers, Claude.
He sure is, Tom. Wheels up off the ground and running pretty straight, except at the last where he went left a little bit for 294 feet and 11 inches.
One heck of a good run there.
Sure was, and you're now looking at last year's winner of this event. This is Corey Forrester.
Corey driven a long ways to come to this event out of Chambersburg, PA, runs the Jasper Pulling Series on the East Coast. Do not count this Ford out, and unlike a lot of the other Fords we see participating on the Jasper Pulling Series, this one is an Alky burner, and Claude, he's made a full pull.
He has, and his name, Hot Iron, for his tractor really lived up to its name there. What a great run.
Well, this is a very unique tractor. Kevin Grove out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania, driving the Underdog. This is a green tractor, Claude, but it ain't John Deere green. This is a Deutz, a German air-cooled diesel.
Yeah, I think he's from out of town there, Tom.
Definitely, but he's one of the toughest tractors on the Jasper Pulling Series on the East Coast. And look at that, 299 and 4.
What a great pull. Germans, of course, are made for their engineering marvels, and it came through in that pull. And speaking of pull, it's time now for the pull-off in the 5,700-pound class, Tom.
The last 5,700-pound class of the year. You're looking at your 1998 Jasper Points champion in this class. Can he win the last event of the year? Leroy's won 27 of these states so far. Can he win 28 of them this year?
And he has a run going that is typical Leroy Mason. A couple of feet, then up in the air, and straight down the track.
Well, he is definitely going to set the mark to beat. Oh, man, he is way the heck out there. 326 feet. Corey Forrester's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of work cut out for him. And as Mr. Forrester comes forward in the hot iron, I think he knows the task that is at hand.
But do not count Corey out. Remember, Corey won this event last year. His tractor works good on this track, but he's starting to get wild. Every time that front end goes up, it's unloading off the wheelie bars, and look at it. He's crossed the out-of-bounds line, and Claude, he was even on one tire there at one point.
He sure was, and he was almost out of bounds on the right side, overcorrected, went to the center, and then out on the left. There are the standings. In first place, of course, is Leroy Mason. Bill Stevens is with Leroy.
Leroy Mason's motor just a little bit sprained after that last run. He won't be running in the 7,700-pound class, but hey, you won the class for 5,700 tonight, and you won the points championship for 57 and 7,700. I think you deserve to go home now.
Yeah, it's been a long, hard year, but we've enjoyed it all the way. It's probably the best year of pulling we've ever had. And we just been awful lucky on that last pass there. Just kicked all it did was kick the dipstick out. We're pretty fortunate. I started it up after we pulled it off track here and sounded fine. They had oil pressure, so I think we'll just put her in a trailer and let her go home rest for the winter.
Our congratulations to Leroy Mason and his team, the Super Modified Two-Wheel Drives. Up next. Lots of refreshment and excitement for everyone at the Brown County Fairgrounds in Georgetown, Ohio tonight. We're glad you chose to join us right here on Speed Vision. Now, the business at hand is the Super Modified Two-Wheel Drives, and this will be Darrell Varner.
Darrell's still looking for his first win of 1998. Maybe tonight will be the night, Claude. Beautiful Chevrolet, always in contention of the pull, always in contention of the Best Appearing Award.
He looks good going down the center of the track for 286 feet and 10 inches. Like the paint scheme on his truck, too. Calls it the rare breed. And that will bring up Mike Rogers. He calls his the doghouse.
Well, actually, it kind of lacks the doghouse. As you can tell, it's one of those Model Ts. It's not much of a doghouse up front, but it is a tough one. And it's got its work cut out if it thinks it can beat Darrell Varner, and it's not going to do it. 285 and 1.
These things, Tom, not only look loud, they sound loud. You can see all the spectators nearby. If they're smart, they cover up the ears immediately.
Well, if they don't cover it up, they're not going to be hearing anything you said later on. I can assure you of that. Here's the current points leader in the class going for the points title. He just needs to lay down a decent run, and he's done that. There's your 1998 Jasper Engines and Transmissions two-wheel drive points champion, Jimmy Mattingly, running to get back into his other truck, who is currently in a battle between second, third, and fourth in the super modified two-wheel drive class. The other trucks that are giving him the battle, well, you know him, Claude, the McPherson.
That's right, the father and son team. This is a busy evening for the Mattingly.
Oh, very much so. And remember, on that last run, pulled 288 feet and change. That is the new distance to beat.
And you got to figure, Tom, he had the previous pulling advantage, knowing this track to get back in the seat again. But he pulls this one for 263 feet 10 inches, not quite enough.
Interesting to note that last year at this pull, Jimmy Mattingly won this class with that truck.
Bill Stevens is with our winner.
Now, let me guess. You like the first run better than the second one?
Yeah, I like the first run a lot better. I don't know that the moisture's coming up in the track. Maybe the track going away a little. Or this thing's got a lot of power. Maybe overpowered it a little. Could be one or the other.
Do you think you're trying to bite off a little too much here?
No, I like it. I like the excitement. I like the rush. Be pretty boring for just to have one for me. You know, a lot of people are content with that, but I need to.
He doesn't like it. He loves it.
Interesting to note here, Tom, the drivers are still at this early stage in the evening trying to figure this track out.
It's also interesting to note that most of the drivers own one vehicle. Well, Jimmy Mattingly's Nemesis, Jim Lyons, also owns two vehicles, a two-wheel and a four-wheel. We're in the two-wheel Super Mod class, and Lyons is on a killer run. He's just taken over the lead.
The lead indeed at 288 feet and 7 inches, and what a strong showing for Jim Lyons.
Well, I bet Mr. Mattingly didn't like that. I mean, those two guys are like fire and ice, and that's no joke there, Claude.
Oh, boy, could be a long evening for somebody. And Danny Sullivan front and center ready to get things going.
The Thumper won the big one, the National Farm Machinery Show this past February. It also won Evansville, Indiana earlier this year on Speed Vision. Can he do it tonight? No, sir.
No, sir is right at 268 feet and 5 inches, and that will clear the way for the son of this team. This is Jeff McPherson in the Bean Bandit.
Jeff is currently in a tight points race with Jimmy Mattingly for second place. He really needs to beat Mattingly out here tonight. But if he can just get enough trucks between them, it won't matter. 259 and 3, it might keep him in the points position of number 2.
As Paul Sullivan gets ready to pull, let's go down to Bill Stevens.
Pretty hot points race going on here, Jeff, and nobody's gone the distance yet. What's going on out there tonight?
The track is real tricky. The truck about the first 60 feet seemed like it was coming real well, and I think maybe I opened it up a little too quick. It took off and then it just laid down and went no place. So I think I'll take some weight off the other truck and hopefully do better with it.
Well, Tom, the testing and the tuning continues on. Now here's Paul Sullivan in the Kentuckian.
We saw Paul make his debut run earlier this year in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Now we're going to watch his last run of 1998. He's making a good pass, but that track is loading him hard there, slowing him down, and he's going to come up way short, 264 and 11.
Way short indeed. Hey, you like two-wheel drives? We'll have more. Stay with us. Another capacity crowd on hand for the American Tractor Pullers Association. Tonight's activity at the Brown County Fairgrounds right here in Georgetown, Ohio.
You see the body closing down on that beautiful Foolish Pleasure. Lisa Tatum doing the driving. That's her father, Tony, getting the dew off the windshield so she can see where in the heck she's going. She is trying to go, though, the distance right now, the full pull. Jim Lyons sitting up in the lead at 288.7. Lisa's going to make a good run right now, Claude.
And what a future lies in store for this young, talented puller. Tonight, 273 feet and 7 inches. Not quite enough. And it's time now for the Synergen Oil Best Appearing Award, where we choose the most professional and best-looking truck or tractor in competition. Brought to you by Synergen Oil, the world's fastest racing oil. Now, here's Bill Stevens.
Well, this, friends and neighbors, is the winner of the Synergen Oil Best Appearing Award here in Georgetown, Ohio, the 1988 El Camino that belongs to Russell Korf of Evansville, Indiana. And a star with the top of this El Camino body. Got a little bit of custom bodywork up front. That's not an El Camino front end. That comes from a 1988 Monte Carlo SS. And the engine, plenty of beef down there. A 557 cubic inch engine. It's a Keith Black Oldsmobile combination. Has an SCS high helix blower. And it makes about 2,000 horsepower on alcohol. You'll notice the headers are chrome, and it says Dan Olson Racing Products on there. Dan Olson is the crew chief for Eddie Hill. If you're familiar with NHRA drag racing, he's the crew chief on the Pennzoil Dragster. A little more body work on the back here. These humongous wheel flares cover these giant tires in the back. It's all very beautifully done. In fact, the entire body has some great workmanship. So congratulations to Russell Korf, the winner of the Synergen Oil Best Appearing Award here in Georgetown.
Thanks, Bill, and beautiful it is. Love the paint scheme and the graphics on this vehicle.
One thing I like about watching Russell Korf drive is his driving style. It's usually wild and woolly up in the air. He gives us a show. The front end's going up. The flash cubes are starting to pop here in Georgetown.
And Tom, he tried about every position on that track for 263 feet and 5 inches. Started out on the right, went to the center, went to the left, a little bit right again. May as well try it all.
Well, he tried, but he did not beat Jim Lyons. Here's another guy that stands a good chance of doing it. Rich Sanford's truck works so very well on these good power tracks, but I think he's running out of power, maybe too high of a gear.
Right at the very end, came up a little short, and Rich pulls for 268 feet. Now that will set the stage for Don Finney out of Paris, Illinois, and he calls his the up and gone, and Tom, he has plans to be gone right about here.
So you got that right, and Don usually has a unique driving style as well. It's usually up and gone and all over the track. Not as wild as we've seen Don get before, but a very respectable run, 279 feet even.
Very respectable indeed, but will not take over first place. This will be one of the McPhersons. This is Dick.
That's right. Father Dick is doing the driving this go-round. He is the last puller in the class. Jim Lyons is sitting up on the lead. Jim has not won a two-wheel drive class all year. He's going to do it tonight.
As of this moment, congratulations to Jim Lyons as Dick McPherson pulls 265 feet. And as we go to the standings, congratulations once again to Jim Lyons and Stitches. Stay with us. We'll have more exciting 4x4s when we come back. Fun for the entire family tonight at the Brown County Fairgrounds in Georgetown, Ohio, as we determine some winners here tonight. Back we go as we set the stage for more four-wheel drive pulling action, and coming up first will be Galen Young out of Versailles, Kentucky.
Galen has won 6 pulls in a row now. He has come into this event as the points leader, and unless he really screws up tonight, Claude, and it don't look like he's going to do it, he's going to walk away your Jasper Points champion.
And it is a full pull. What a way to start the class in the Renegade. Now let's check in once again with Bill Stevens.
Well, Galen Young, I guess that's what point leaders are supposed to do.
Well, I hope so. It made a good hook out there.
Now, you told me that the track, although it looked to us as if it was pretty cooperative, it really isn't.
No, it pulled my motor down a lot, and it put a strain on it.
Up to a good start, though.
Yeah, sure did.
Well, Tom, once you think you've got the track figured out, something changes.
And something else you need to remember, when Galen Young said that the track was pulling his motor down, that's a good thing. That means the track has taken a lot of horsepower.
And with a lot of horsepower now, this is Gary Varner in the fast break.
Well, speaking of horsepower, Gary runs out right at the end. That's when you saw the motor go up, down. That's the sign of a good track. He'll go at 289 and change. Ron Baker, another Versailles, Kentucky native, the #1 Ford on the Jasper Pulling Series, Claude.
And we've seen him a lot this year, Tom, with a lot of success, too. N-SANE is his truck, and he takes it almost to the end. 285 feet and 4 inches. Not quite enough.
First look at a Mopar tonight. Truck called Pumpkin Wiser. Jim Sands is the driver out of Salem, Indiana, and, well, no surprise, Claude, the guy owns a little tavern there in Salem. I'm sure that's a shocker, right?
Yeah, I had some thoughts of where he mixed the two names there. Jim Sands pulls 271 feet and 4 inches, and the imagination, Tom, that some of these guys come up with.
Brad Hunter is up next. Always a tough competitor with that Samoyed-powered Chevrolet. Do not count him out at all. He is moving fast down the way. Front end boggling, and He's done 274.5.
And that was a straight run, Tom, right down the center of the track, did not veer left or right. And that will bring up Mike Clark out of Staunton, Indiana, and the good old pack rat.
Mike has been pulling for many, many years in the pro stock category. He's just recently stepped up to the modified. Look for this guy to run serious on the Jasper Pulling Series next year. Going to come up short here in Georgetown, though.
Yeah, a little bit short, 284 feet and 9 inches. As we look inside the cockpit of Jim MOOTZ, a little good luck shake there.
Jim has got one of the toughest Chevrolets on the Jasper Pulling Series. He knows this good Ohio clay. I would not count this man out at all. He could be the guy to force Galen Young into a pull-off situation.
He could, fighting it just a little bit there, Tom, but he did gain control and go on to 280 feet.
A look now at a Ford coming up. We've seen a few Fords in the class. Ford fans would like to very much get up there and wrestle with Galen Young. B.J. Titus doing the driving out of Marshall, Illinois. This truck placed third here in Georgetown last year, Claude.
We'll see how he does tonight in the Bustin' Loose as he comes down toward the end. 274 feet, 1 inch, not going to get the job done, a little bit short. Stay with us. More exciting four-wheel drives coming at you when we come back. Welcome back to the Brown County Fairgrounds. Whoa, in Georgetown, Ohio. If you think bungee jumping is exciting, a sport of the 90s, you should put yourself in the seat of one of these 4x4 trucks.
Here's a guy that gets pretty extreme and exciting when he drives Don Grant's Rags to Riches. Formerly, this was a Dodge, but Don Grant made the switch to a bow tie late last year, and he hasn't looked back since. 275.6.
No, Tom, I don't think he regrets that decision very much. And speaking of a Dodge, we have one coming up right here.
Well, 700 some odd cubic inches worth of Chrysler power. This rambunctious out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Eddie Allen doing the driving. Probably the toughest Dodge at this point in North America. Never count the rambunctious out.
And here comes a whole lot of Mopar madness. Look at him shake, twist, and bend. But he's going straight down the track. A good run. And those of you in drag racing history may remember the name Rambunctious from Gene Snow. And it's time now for the Valco Tech Talk, where we share some of the best-kept secrets of the motorsports industry. Brought to you by Valco of Cincinnati. Now with our Tech Talk, here's Bill Stevens.
This time on Valco Tech Talk, a product for those of you looking for an improvement over silicone gaskets or gasket sealant. It's called HALE. It was produced by the Rolls-Royce company and is working its way into the general automotive population. It has three basic jobs. One is a gasket dressing, one as a gasket maker, and the other is a bolt sealant. And that's what I think is most interesting, because HALE on a bolt does a couple of things. First of all, if that bolt is subjected to moisture inside the engine near a water passage, it won't rust and it won't freeze. Also, if it's subjected to the elements on the outside, once again, that bolt is impervious from freezing up. And that's important if you have to retorque any of those engine components. In fact, Jasper Engines uses this product on all of the motors that they assemble at the factory. It's available in three different mediums. You've got your brush top can, you've got your tube, and you've got your aerosol can. And it's available wherever better performance products are sold.
Thanks, Bill, once again for that great tip. You're sitting inside the cockpit, getting ready to go to work now. This is Junior Brown.
I love the sound of that Chevrolet of Junior Brown. Never count this guy out. Last year he drove all the way from Waverly, Tennessee, broke a drive shaft and didn't even get off the line here in Georgetown at the Jasper World Finals. Going to try to take care of that tonight. He's got a good run going.
He certainly does, Tom, and he chose to go down that right side again and took it for 271 feet and 7 inches.
Well, Tommy Tomoyan has not only been one of the toughest competitors on the Jasper Pulling Series, he has built 9 of the four-wheel drive motors in this class. 9 of these engines, Claude, came from this guy's shop, so he obviously knows what he's doing.
So that should give him a great advantage on this track with all of that motor building experience. Let's see how well it pays off. 286 feet and 4 inches.
He's going to be there in the hunt, but no cigar. Galen Young still looking good. And as we come up to the last vehicle in the class, even if this guy gets a full pull, Galen Young's going to be proud. This is his partner, Steve Clem, also out of Versailles, Kentucky. Beautiful truck called the Ratical.
I like to watch this guy pull. And look at the graphics and the paint on this truck. These guys put a lot of attention and work into the appearance of their truck. He's fighting it there, Tom.
Now, this track is real aggressive. It's fighting them and trying to take them all over the track. And Galen Young will win 7 in a row now, Claude.
There you see him in the #1 position as we go to the standings with 304 feet and 11 inches.
With Galen Young, who wrapped up the four-wheel drive championship coming into this event. Now to cap it off, the last event of the year, you win the class. What else is left?
Man, I think that's the tops, isn't it? I don't think you can get any better than that.
Hopefully we're on a put. Really nice job tonight. The only truck that made a full pull. And when I talked to you earlier tonight, you had a feeling that you were going to luck out in that deal. You didn't think a lot of trucks were going to be able to equal that.
Well, I knew the track was going to go away. I felt like it would anyway, and it did. I mean, the track definitely went away.
Well, what's the plan for next year?
More power. More power.
Well, we may have to change the name of the truck from Renegade to Win Again. Galen Young, your champion here at the Jasper Pulling Series.
Thanks, Bill. Let's make way now for the 7,700-pound Super Stocks when we come back. You've been there. You know it. You recognize it. This has to be brother and sister, right? Welcome back to the Brown County Fairgrounds from Georgetown, Ohio. Well, a little bit of violence, a whole lot of pulling action, Tom. Back to the 7,700-pound class. And, Tom, these tractors, when they start, will use between 1.5 to 2 gallons of fuel from the time they hook up to the end of their run.
There's a guy that's always using a lot of fuel and always takes up a lot of track space. Usually gets pretty wild in the 57s. When he adds that ton of weight, it kind of blocks him a little bit more into the track. Larry Phillips pulls 240 feet and 11 inches.
And that was the Insanity. This will be Neil Gettinger as he prepares to do business here. And like that wascally wabbit there on the side of his tractor.
You remember that rabbit on the side, though, got boxing gloves on, so that's just what he wants to do to the competition, and he's definitely one to watch. He has won this pull at Georgetown many, many times. Getting some water out of the side of the tractor there doesn't seem to be a major problem. He will set the mark to beat, 265.9.
And a very good run, Tom. Straight and true right down the center of the track. And here comes Brent Moore as he backs up and gets ready to get hooked to the sled. And by the way, what is the weight of this sled now for the 7,700-pound class?
Well, I would estimate this Otwell sled is probably weighing close to 65,000 pounds to have to stop these guys. So a lot of weight that the Kentucky sled hunter's pulling. And Claude, this is an alcohol tractor who is having problems there.
Alcohol recognizable immediately. There is no black smoke there, but some problems at only 232 feet.
You take a look now at a guy making his second run on the Jasper Pulling Series. Dave Armstrong out of Morrow, Ohio, driving the slow motion. Now, this is actually a pro stock. He's only running one turbocharger, trying to keep it under control. But, man, the track is hooking him hard. He took a wild ride there, Claude.
Not very comfortable in the seat, and he never did find a really good place on that track to get hooked up to it. As we go to the Synergen Oil replay, Tom, his problems start just about right there.
As soon as he got off the starting line, he hit the brakes left, right, just didn't know where to go. But you got to understand something too, Claude. He's a rookie driver. He'll get the hold of it. He'll figure it out. He'll be back.
Yeah, the final picture will come to mind one of these days. You may wonder if you could get these tractors out on the highway. There is a lot of power here. These tractors could run between 60 and 80 miles an hour on the open road. They may get a ticket, though.
That's exactly right. Nick Hicks is pretty well locked up second place in the Jasper Point, making his last run of the year. He's got to beat 265. Is he going to beat the other John Deere? Not tonight.
Not tonight at 242 feet and 3 inches. Well, here comes the thumper. We've seen this John Deere around at a lot of the pulling sites.
Mark Wiederholt is pretty well locked in third place in Jasper Points. Nothing can really change that now, so let's see what the Thumper Deere does. Lays down a good run, the front end's up, and has problems.
Major problems at 141 feet and 10 inches. You see the dual stacks there. And as we go to the Synergen Oil replay, any idea what went wrong here?
I think it's something very serious in the motor. I think we just saw him toast a motor, Claude.
The evening is over, and so is the motor. That one will be expensive.
Well, Mr. Forrester's backing up to the sled. Now, we saw him participate earlier in the 5,700-pound super stock class. He got a little wild in the pull-off. He's carrying, though, an extra ton of weight, so he ought to keep it pretty well under control this time, but that ain't happening.
Ford fans come to their feet as his tractor leaves the ground and front end goes straight up, but only 247 feet 6 inches, and you're right, not gonna happen. As we go to the Synergen Oil replay, what happens here, Tom?
He gets up in the air, and for some reason, that tractor, it did the same thing here last year as well, Claude. It just goes right over to that left-hand side of the track, and he has to ride that right brake all the way down the track, and every time he does it, he loses footing.
That he does. Want some more 7,700 pounds? Stay with us. We'll have more. Welcome back to the Brown County Fairgrounds in Georgetown, Ohio for the American Tractor Pullers Association Truck and Tractor Pull. As we continue business with the 7,700-pound super stock tractors, watch a little bit of the hooking action here. That would be the safety switch being hooked up to the sled. The idea there, if the sled were to break away, then it is automatically shut down. Of course, the other big hook is the sled itself being hooked to the tractor. This is Robert Galloway.
Robert Galloway won the Jasper Points Finals last year here in Georgetown. He's coming back to try to do it 2 years in a row. He knows how tough Neil Gettinger is, and he's going to come up short.
Pretty much short, 261 feet in his green Hulk. Kemper Brothers backing up now, preparing to get hooked to the sled.
Charles Kemper in the driver's seat. Always putting on a good show with the Orange Phil. Alice Chalmers, never count this tractor out. Has yet to win a pull this year, but this could be the night. He's got a lot of ground speed going there, Claude.
He sure does. The old orange peel is moving right along. And you notice safety is important to all of these drivers. He has the real cage all around the driver's cockpit there.
A little alcohol blowback there. Nothing to be concerned about. Just kind of leaned out on him. The fuel's looking free hot dog roast if you want a hot dog at the end of a stick there.
As we see on the Synergen Oil replay, makes for good TV. Lots of flames, little hot action there, but like you say, nothing to worry about.
Backing up to the sled now is one of the more entertaining pullers that you will ever meet in your life. A tractor called In Too Deep. This is Kent Payne from Petersburg, Indiana, and his opinion on the alcohol diesel rivalry is he said, bring those alcohol tractors on. My diesel can whoop them.
Nothing like a positive attitude. Well, let's see if his attitude is applied to the track and his day at the office here. 211 feet. What do you think, Tom?
Well, he's trying. Just didn't get a cigar on that run.
Time now for the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Best Engineered Award, where the ATPA officials choose the vehicle that is technically outstanding. Brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions.
Well, this is the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Best Engineered Award for this event, and it is the 1988 International tractor that belongs to Danny Beal of Darien, New York. Now, what's really interesting about this tractor, it competes in the 7,700-pound category, and most of the tractors in this class run a stock-based engine. The motor in this tractor, making almost 5,000 horsepower, is almost all custom fabricated, the handiwork of Ernie Conner. What's interesting about that is Ernie Conner broke into the tractor pulling business by building combinations that ran on alcohol, and now he's moved to the diesel category. So congratulations to Danny Beal. He is the winner of the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Best Engineered Award with his nuclear toy.
Thanks, Bill. Earlier today, Tom, I was down in the pits talking to Danny, and he was a little bit secretive about opening up that front cover and letting us see the engine in there.
A lot of guys don't like you to look inside their side shields. They've got different combinations they don't want other people to know about. And Danny's no different from the rest of them.
That's right, Tom. And this is Keith Middleton. And, Tom, I've noticed some of these tractors have dual stacks. Some only have singular. What's the deal there?
Basically has to do with how the driver chooses to set up his multi-stage turbocharger combinations. And remember, some of these guys are running up to 4 turbochargers. Some of them are running 1 stack, some of them are running 2. It depends upon how they set their turbochargers up underneath the hood.
So a nice little smoke show there for the crowd put on by Brian Stroud. As you see those beautiful smoke rings go up. As the RPMs come up, though, that white smoke will turn to deep charcoal.
Brian Stroud hasn't been out much this year, and he's having turbocharger problems right here on the get-go.
We'll determine the winner in the 7,700-pound Superstock class when we come back. More pulling action coming your way from the Brown County Fairgrounds in Georgetown, Ohio, as we prepare to get hooked up here, Tom. And you will notice about 75 feet down the track, the flagman with the green flag. What is his purpose there, Tom?
He's the starting flagman. He lets the guy at 300 foot know that everything is safe and secure. Everything's functioning at the starting line. If the driver decides he doesn't want to take his first run at 75 foot, he has the option to go back.
That is if he shuts off before the 75 feet. Now, Kenneth Hale will go on out to 265 feet and 4 inches, and that will put him firmly in second place. As we see Danny Beal back up, Tom, that is an elaborate roll cage protector there. Is that a requirement right now?
Well, in 1999, the ATPA will require rollover protection in the Superstock categories. More information can be made available on that later on. Danny Beal just explodes a turbocharger. He was making so much power, it literally exploded it, Claude.
As we go to the Synergen Oil replay, you can see he doesn't need the roll protection right there, but some serious problems inside the engine cover there.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt there.
And boy, when that thing goes down, Tom, he comes to a stop immediately.
Well, here's a unique man, to say the least. This guy lives in a house underground.
There we go.
He's got to mow his roof. Not too many people can say that. John Mears doing the driving. Russ Mears, the father and the owner of the tractor. They're making a good pass, but it's loading them, and the Case IH shuts down at 244 and 8.
And he calls this tractor the maybe so. Not really a positive statement there, but he must have a hidden meaning somewhere. Well, it's John Deere time right here. Here's the Hoosier Deere.
The Hoosier Deere was 4th here last year at the Jasper World Finals in Georgetown, Ohio. Do not count him out tonight. He knows this clay. 4 turbocharged John Deere. He's starting to fly down the way, Claude.
He started to drift right just a little bit, and whoa, comes to a sudden stop at 247 feet. Something blew up right there.
As we get towards the end of the season, Claude, these tractors get tired, and they start breaking a lot of parts, and that's just what happened on the Hoosier Deere.
You want to know what happens when a turbocharger blows up? Bill Stevens knows.
Well, this is a turbocharger. And in tractor pulling, you hear a lot about turbochargers. In fact, some of the larger classes of tractors run as many as 4 turbochargers. They're different from a supercharger. A supercharger basically does the same thing, but it's driven by the engine, the crankshaft pulley. A turbocharger is driven by exhaust gases. Exhaust gases come out of the exhaust manifold, go into the turbo housing, and turn an impeller fan. That turns a compressor fan and that housing, and that sucks air in from the outside. That gets channeled down into the engine and really increases power. And it's a very efficient way to do it. There's only one downside to a turbo, though. You have to make sure there is sufficient fuel mixing with all that air going into the engine. If not, you have a condition that's called leaning out. And if that's serious enough, your engine could pack it in.
Which is what we saw just a moment ago. Thanks, Professor Bill. Well, classmates, everybody get that? And right now, it's all business with Roger Early.
The tractor was formerly owned by Doug Leake, one of the founding fathers of the ATPA. Roger has been kicking you-know-what all over Ohio this year with it. Made several Jasper Pulley Series events, and he's going to shut down early. They're not going to beat the John Deeres.
And he was coming dangerously close anyway to that out-of-bounds area right there. Started out on the right and came immediately to the left. And that will bring up Kevin Grove.
Last look at the last tractor of the 1998 Jasper Engine Transmission Pulling Series, and it's a unique one. It's that air-cooled German Deutz out here. Making a good pass, but the Otwell sled's going to stop him way short. Neil Gettinger will win the class with another green tractor, a John Deere.
Kevin Grove, a good pull tonight, but not quite good enough. Dankeschön to his German tractor. And there you see a sport of inches. Neil Gettinger in first place, Kenneth Hale very close in second.
The winner in the 7,700-pound class, Neil Gettinger, and Leroy Mason left a little on the table, and you thought you'd just snatch it up, I guess.
Yeah, well, pulling that early, there are a lot of good tractors right behind me, and just tough competition down the line. I never expected it to hold up, and sweating bullets at the end all through the class, and it panned out. It was great.
265.9 really isn't the kind of number you might have expected to win tonight.
Right, it was a short track, and the track judge kind of asked me if the tractor was running all right. He thought it might be hurting. I quite frankly thought I was too nose heavy, and it was going to be beaten. So I just told him I'm nose heavy. They'll get past me here.
Neil closes out the season with a win here in Georgetown, Ohio.
And congratulations. Let's now go back and review tonight's winners. You see Leroy Mason. Who could forget the year and the fabulous night that he has had tonight in the 5,700-pound class? In the super modified two-wheel drive class, congratulations to one of the busiest men in motorsports. That, of course, is Jim Lyons. And the four-wheel drive trucks, Galen Young driving the Renegade. What a season. Congratulations to him tonight.
As we look at the 1998 Jasper Engines and Transmission Points Finals, Leroy dominates the 7, as you can tell. Ron Edron's out in the top 4. He was your defending champion last year. The two-wheel drive super modifieds, Jimmy Mattingly, McPherson, 2 teams, 4 trucks. They took home all the money. Lightweight super stocks, the 5700s. Leroy again. McKillop on his heels, Mundy coming in, and of course you see the Kippers grinding out the top 4. 10,000 Pro Stocks, real close race down to the wire. Carl Smith and Scott Rollins had to fight over it, and in the super modified multi-engine tractors, Joe Etter takes home the prize. And in the modified, Galen Young wins the last 7 events of the year and comes back from 4th in the points to win the title.
This Speed Vision program has been brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the nation's leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions, and by Synergen Racing Oil, the world's fastest racing oil, and by Valco of Cincinnati, whose wide array of products are available at local truck stops. That wraps up our season here on Speed Vision. Remember earlier in the show we said there was a controversy that would be settled next year. Join us, and thanks a lot to Speed Vision. Good night, everyone.